Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Why podcast. We are your hosts, Nikita and
Sai, and today we'll be talking about study tips since our finals are 1 week away.
yeah. So these are a few tips that we do use. Otherwise, we wouldn't be saying this just for theory. So, like, these are stuff that we actually use and we find helpful. So,
Yep.
starting off with retrospective timetable method. I just started using this and I already feel like it's way better than a normal timetable because in a standard timetable, you would have your subject and a date in which you are supposed to complete it. But then in a retrospective timetable, you have your subjects and then you write down dates when you revised it. So you'll know when you revised it. And according to like I think it's called a traffic signal method, you will highlight it in yellow color, red color, or green color according to how you're feeling about it. So like green if you're like really confident about it, right? If you're like not at all confident, and like yellow if you're like okay with it but you still need to learn it. So like whenever you come back, the first thing you do is study the reds, then the yellows, and then again the if anything yellow or red is left, those, and then finally all will be green, so you'll be confident. I think that'll be really helpful. I already made my timetable, so I'm going to start today. So yeah, that was mine. Now Sai will be talking about the repetition method.
Yep. So I wouldn't like basically say this for anyone who's starting to learn. This is basically more like after you are done with studying and you have too much cramped up in your head and you have to revise. And I think I would prefer people to use this method then only. I think so it's basically just you learn your stuff and then you come the next day and you have to you just recall whatever you learned the previous day, and then when you don't remember something, you pay more attention and revise the thing you couldn't recall and learn again, so by then you'll be perfect in that topic. Yeah.
Yep. So next, I will be talking about the Pomodoro method, Pomodoro technique. So what this is I've started using this because in YouTube we have these study with me videos, and that's how I came to discover about it. So it is when you have a timer, so you have 25 minutes when you're studying, and then you have 5 minutes break, again 25 minutes, and so on. So I started using this and it's actually really helpful because otherwise, when I would like just start studying, I wouldn't be feeling like studying. But then, when you watch study with me videos as well, you kind of get inspired because the person in the video is just constantly studying. So, like, you'll feel like, oh, I should also study. Like, you'll get more motivation to study, and also you'll be having your proper breaks so that you do remember what you learned in the break. I mean, not in the break, before the break, and then you'll start your next topic after the break. So, yeah.
Yep. So the third method we would like to share is visualizing. So it's basically like making up, like, see, some people like learning when they picture stuff. So basically, I'd have like a story in social. Suppose we'll go for French Revolution, and then because it's a pretty basic topic,
Mhm.
so we'll be like we'll recall it like a story, and it'll be pictured in your head. You can draw, maybe you can draw these pictures also, or you could draw like people actually. I think I used this method for my UA social exam. I had a short portion, but it was really length. It was still I couldn't understand how to learn it, so
It
I
was like
actually
very
drew.
like not like it was interesting, but like it was more of like cramming up in your head instead of just understanding and learning.
Yep. So I think I drew like 10 characters. Like those were like different characters, like one with a shorter hair, one with a longer hair, with a colored hair, something like differentiates all of them. And they were like debating on a topic. Suppose you can explain it as a story. Suppose take French Revolution, you go like the king was like this, the people did not like this, so then came people's right to vote, and then about the constitution. You could go like a story up. You could visualize it in your head, and if you're like really good in drawing, or you can draw small creatures or something, not in the sense creatures, but like small people or characters who is explaining you the story, so that you get to know understand it more than cramming it up in your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next method is flashcard learning method. I think this is like pretty common. So in this you have flashcards, and then like according to what you know, so you, for example, if you're learning like difficult terms, you'll write the term on the front of the card and then the definition will be on the back. So when you look at the card, if you're able to say the definition, you put it in a box that says learned. So this is something that you could use. It doesn't have to necessarily be a box. I think Quizlet offers online flashcards which you can create or use already templates about the topics that you're studying. So you can either put in the learning box if you're doing it by hand, and then if you're not able to, then that goes into the stuff that you need to learn again. So by the end of it, all the flashcards, if they're in the learning box, then that means you've learned all those definitions of the words. So that's a really fun thing. Even it doesn't have to be like definitions of words, it can be like question answers too. You can write down question answers, and if you're able to answer it by looking at the question on the front, then it'll go into the learning box, and so on.
Yeah. So the next process of the learning, this is not basically a learning method, but it's a very essential thing to keep you studying. So it's sleep. Many students like sit up like really late, doing all nighters just to study and finish up the portion.
It's like me.
But example, Nikita, she sleeps really late. So I would say like sleep early. Like I think a good 6 to 8 hours sleep is necessary somewhere in the middle. And like, if you're going to even study the whole night, what is the use? In the morning you just end up with full sleep and then you don't remember a single thing that you learned. And some studies show that just putting things up in your brain and without sleep does not help you. It is of no use, and then you just waste up your sleeping hours. So I'd basically say anyone to sleep early and wake up early. It's a good practice also. And also in the morning it's pretty peaceful. So I feel like people can concentrate more. It's
Yeah, I
easier to
feel the
concentrate.
same way. Like, till then, I used to like, I think until like half of 2020, all I did was sleep late, wake up late, and like just be fully stressed about it. But like now it's more like if I go to sleep by 10, I can wake up at 5 and then study. So like that kind of gives me reassurance as long as I wake up at 5. If I wake up like an hour later, then it's a big problem, but it's fine. So yeah, I should,
Yeah,
I will sleep early. Yeah.
you should.
Yeah. Then the next is parents and little brothers and sisters. They don't always have to be a disturbance when you're studying. You can use them to your advantage. So you can explain an answer to them. You can make them ask you questions until they leave you alone. If you want them to leave you alone, you can make them so you're also getting your study as well as getting them, you know, to leave you alone. No, it doesn't necessarily have to make them leave you alone. It'll be more helpful. So then, like, for example, I make my little brother ask me questions. If he's like free, I'll just be like, these are my list of questions, please ask me, and then these are my answers. So like just check if I'm saying something along these lines. So then you'll also get your revision done that way, and you'll still be kind of entertaining your little brothers and sisters, or if you have older ones who are willing, sure, or parents too. So yeah.
I don't have younger brothers or sisters or basically siblings, but I do have a lot of insects and creatures that are willingly so ready to hear my answers.
Yeah, like the plants, the curtains, the cupboards, all are just willing to listen to you. So if no little brothers and sisters, just don't talk to your cupboards, but like you can if you want.
Yeah, they'll open their doors like this to
Like
say
they
it's
open their
right or
ear.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is pretty much it for our study tips. Hope these helped someone, at least someone. These definitely help us. So like it's coming from people who have tried it. So it's just we hope you like it. And that's pretty much
Tune
it for
in
this week's episode.
and also tune in next week for the next episode.
Join us and let's vibe.